G'day everyone, Red Posy here. I hope you're all well in whatever part of the world you're watching this video. Today is Thursday, the 2nd of December 2021, and the time here is 0900 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Well folks, as always, plenty to go through, so let's get into it. Here is my sponsor, Totally Awesome, who make golden activated turmeric paste and other items. Now, if you have joint inflammation or just generally want to feel better, get some of this stuff, folks. Honestly, the golden activated turmeric paste is, honestly, everyone I've recommended it to absolutely loves the stuff and highly recommends it and has recommended it to other people. That's how good it is. I've tried the rest. This is the best. Go and get some. Contact detail 0433 165 848 and info@totallyrawsome.com.au. Okay, so where are we? Right, hopefully this video goes out. Having a few fun and games with the old Microsoft programming computer, blah, blah, blah. No one watching, no. Anyway, look, if you haven't realized the significance of what's happening in Austria compared to the rest of the world, yeah, look, if you're international, here's what's happening in Australia. We have 15 days as of today to, here in Queensland, where I live, you won't be able to do anything, go anywhere, if you haven't been double vaxxed by the 17th of December. Because apparently that's then when they're going to reopen the borders so we can all travel. Now, what they're saying is, people, honestly, folks, you can't make this up. This is the thing that disappoints me. Oh, I suppose it doesn't disappoint me. I suppose I didn't realise. Is that true statement? I kind of realised just how bad people were influenced by the government. You know, remembering that they really should not take any responsibility for or partake in your life in any way, except for, building bridges, taking taxes, tax revenue, and building hospitals and making sure that everyone's health is taken care of. But see, we've gone way past that point. And it's staggering to think how many people are so stupefied into thinking that the governments do everything for them. It's staggering. You don't have to worry about living in communism or Marxism. We're actually living it, because all these people are quite prepared to let the government rule their life. It's staggering. Anyway, look, so we have until the 17th of December to get double jabbed. Now, this is how serious it is here in Australia, just in case you're international. If I go to Woolworths down the road at my shopping centre, now this is one for you people to actually start realising just how serious this is getting. So I go to we have the automatic checkouts now, where you can do it all yourself. Now, when you go there now, you'll notice as you press to start, a little box comes up in the actual computer screen on the monitor, and it's got your picture in it. Now, if you look to the left, there's actually a little sign that a lot of people are not paying attention to. On that sign, it says, proceed with QR code. So this is how serious this is getting, right? So as of the 17th, I go down to Woolies and I go to put my shopping through. It's going to ask me for my QR code, i.e. my due number that's been tattooed on my arm, so that I can buy groceries. If I don't have that, I won't be able to buy groceries. And I wouldn't mind betting that it starts flashing red so that the guy can call the police. That's how serious this is getting here. And there's people there just going, no, it's okay. So here's what's happening in Australia. You go to the shops, you go to anywhere, To buy something, to do anything, you're going to have your QR code. Now, is that acceptable in anyone's brain, right? Is that acceptable? Because apparently it is to a lot of 80% of the population, which is absolute bullshit. If you think that 80% of the population has been vaccinated, I've got a bridge in Darwin to sell you that goes to Malaysia. Wake up. There's no way 80% of the population, look, I don't know anyone that's been vaccinated except for my, I mean like full on vaccinated. I hardly know anyone except old people. And while we're talking about this, right, this is important. I've had loads of people hammering me in the comment section saying, well, you're out there saying don't take the vaccine, da, 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 da. Look, you want to take the vaccine, take the vaccine. I don't give a shit. I'm not. There's a lot of reasons for that. One, I won't be told what to do by anybody in that regard. It's my body, my choice. And the day, I've said this before, the day that the government actually tells people that they have to have an injection, you are no longer living in a democracy. You're living in Nazi Germany. Because that's exactly what they did to the Jews. You're unclean, you need to be vaccinated. And they lined them up and injected them. This is true. I'm not making this up. You can look it up if you want. So one of the very first things they did to the Jews, lined them up, told them they all had typhus and, they gave everybody germs, etc. And they actually inoculated them. And the Jews went and lined up. As I said in the last video, 300, 400,000 of them got on a boat and left and went to America or England or wherever they could get out of to go because they could see the writing on the wall. The other 6 million stayed. Look where that went. If you do that in percentages, I don't even think that adds up to 1% of the Jewish population in Germany got out. That's how sad that is. Because people will like that. It's okay, the government can tell me to take this and do that and blah, 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 blah. Even when they started burning their buildings down and beating people up and making them wear armbands, they still stayed, even though they still could have gotten out. So I just laugh with all this stuff. It's just nonsensical crap. So anyway, look, here's what's happened in my family. And I'm going to use my family because I'm guessing there's a lot of families that are the same as mine. You'll have people that have it and people that don't. My wife works in care. She didn't have to get the vaccine, but she decided to get the vaccines. She's had 2 Pfizer jabs. That's her choice. One of my sons is disabled, has cerebral palsy, and we actually recommended that he get it because he has respiratory problems. Now, whether that's going to help him or not, we don't know. We're taking the punt. One of his other brothers went and got it because they're very close, and he said he wouldn't feel right if he gave my other son COVID, so he went and got the jab. And I fully respect that decision because they're adults. Now, my wife, since she's had the jab, she's been telling me to get the jab, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I'm not getting it. Don't even bother. And here's one of the interesting things here. And I'm finding this a lot when I watch these shows. I put my faith in God. If God wants to take me, God takes me. I have no fear of death. And maybe that's my training over the years as well, all the fighting and hell raising that I used to do, etc., etc. I've never really had this big fear of death. I've lived every life, every day. I've done stuff that you could make movies about. And I'm not kidding about that. I am actually serious. You could write a book about what I've done in my life, the things I've done. Good mates of mine that I grew up with say the same thing. They can't believe what I've done in my life. At the drop of a hat, I've just left countries and gone to another one, and things like that. So the fear of death has no, God wants to take me and take me to a better place, hopefully. Go for it. So there's that fear element in a lot of people. Now, as you know, I'm not religious per se. I do believe there's a God. I'm not too sure about this whole Jesus thing, although I have to admit, it's hard to not read the Bible in certain sections. I don't read it every day, don't get me wrong. It's hard to look at some, what do they call them, verses in the Bible and equate them back to now, and you go, that's kind of freaky. So that's my perspective on it, okay? Now, I'm guessing there's a lot of families out there in the same boat. I don't listen to a lot of the hyperbole as regards to, oh, you're a sinner, or these people who've taken the vaccine. Look, guys, are you going to say to your 80-year-old parent not to take the vaccine? No, you're not. And if you do, good luck to you. But I just don't see the point. They're 80 years old. It gives them a bit of comfort. Is that right or wrong? I don't know. Because as I said, I think there is people that this vaccine can help, possibly. I don't know. I've never seen what's in it. Even to this day, no one knows what's in it. I kind of think it's funny after all this time, all these scientists around the world have had vials of this stuff, but they still haven't told us what is exactly in this thing or these jabs. So I kind of take everything with a grain of salt, and I'm listening to everything with a grain of salt as well, folks. And I think you should, and that includes me. I've got, I don't get everything right. I know I don't. I'm not God. I'm not infallible. Right, moving on to the next thing. Max Eigen. Now, this is interesting. My view on Max is not very, very good, I'm afraid, and it's not going to change. Because in my mind, if you're going to be a freedom fighter, then fight for freedom. You can't look. I just have grave concerns about. Yeah, look, and I say this as someone who usually doesn't say anything about anyone else. Okay, but I have grave concerns when a bloke gets on a plane, flies to another country, telling everyone that he's he's now an international refugee because he's being hunted by the Australian government. Come on, really? I just think that's ludicrous. If I did that, people would laugh at me. And I'm not saying there's not nefarious government agencies, because look, as I said to you, I was listening to the phone call the other day when there was a bloke on the other end of the phone line. Two of us, not one. There was three people in the conversation. We could both clearly hear him. So that was a bit, like, look. And as I said, are they listening? Absolutely. Who gives a shit? And for what I don't understand is for someone people have been telling me that he's been doing this for the last 10 years. Okay, then he should know better. I don't know. It just rubbed me up the wrong way. And as I said, probably because of my background, I don't go back much. So, and that's probably the difference, I guess. And it's always something that's always amazed me about people like that. If you're a fighter and you know how to fight, you don't go around fighting that much. Why? Because if you know how to fight, then you're going to hurt someone. And it's probably the last thing you want to do. When you're younger, you're all fired up and everything else. Yeah, I understand that. As you get older, you've got to use your brain a bit more. You know what I mean? Um, but as regards to Max, now he's running around telling everyone he's an international um, refugee because he's been. I actually saw something video that came up, and he did some interview with some people in England, London, and they were calling him an international refugee who's being hunted down by the Australian government. I think they've got a lot more important things to do than chase Max around the world, honestly. And look, that's the last I'm going to say about it because, as I said, I think he's done the wrong thing, right or wrong. He's still making videos from wherever going, I wish I was there, blah, blah, blah. Well, you're not. You actually got on a plane and you left, buddy. And as I said, that's the last I'm going to say about it. I just don't have any time for the bloke. You listen to him if you want. I ain't. And that's me saying, and look, I'm a nobody. So, and before anyone says I'm a nobody, I'm telling you I'm nobody. Right, that's that finished. The next thing, a lot of people have asked me about this. So, if you want to give blood, or if you're in an accident, you are now going to be injected with this vaccine from other people's blood. So in actual fact, there's a good chance that you may end up getting vaccinated anyway with this gene therapy. So look, here's what I'm going to show you. This uses the Australian Red Cross lifeblood. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but you can actually go down there and give your own blood to be stored for your own personal use. I think the payoff is you have to give them some blood so they can use. Now remember, there's 8 litres in a body, 8, 9 litres. So to give yourself 8 litres, you'd have to do it over 8 weeks, I think. I think you can only give 1 litre a week, if that's right, something like that. I can't remember what it is, but you'd have to look into it a bit yourself because it takes a while to get 8 litres. And you can actually, they will store that blood for you on record. Whether it's Red Cross or the other one, I can't remember what the other one's called. So look into it. It's viable and it's sensible. If you're completely anti-vax and you don't want anybody to have, you don't want their blood in you, then you can do this. Okay, give them a call and go through it because I'm doing it. Okay, that's the first one. Now, this might sound a bit stupid. How many of you have a watch? Mine's got paint all over it at the moment because I'm painting. How many of you have a good quality watch right now that you can use for the next couple of years? It's all these little things that are really important, folks. You might think, well, that's a bit of a weird thing to be, but I'm telling you, it's going to be one of the most important things you can have is a really good watch. Wow, that's kind of weird. So if you've got a watch that you've had that's been passed down to you for like generations, yeah, all good and everything else, get rid of it and get yourself a good watch that's going to last you for the next couple of years, okay? Right. What's going to happen here in Australia? Right. Here, as I said, we have until the 17th. On the 17th, I'm fully expecting the Australian government, federal government, to get involved because they've already come out and said that mandates are not legal. I hope you realise that. So the federal government, which looks after the Commonwealth of Australia, has come out and said these mandates that everyone has to be double jabbed, etc., are not legal. Now, why did they do that? Because they know they're not stupid. per se. They know that not 80% of the whole population of Australia has had the vaccine. And they're fully expecting something like 35% of the Australian population to be non-compliant. Think about that, 35 to 40% of the population to be non-compliant. And what that means is that they will say, okay, Pellet Jack, you don't want me to go and have a coffee, etc.? Great, I ain't going anywhere. Do you understand what the hit on the economy will be? It will be massive. And I mean, like, and here's the other problem, right? Now, this is where it's going to prove whether people are going to stand strong or falter, because they will come for us hell for leather. Hell for leather. Because it's the unvaccinated that are doing everything wrong. Because remember I said to you, 70-30. Once you've got, even in people's minds, that 70% of the population are vaccinated, because it comes up on the TV screen every night. Have you not noticed? 75%, 80% have had the first dose, 76.5% have had the second dose, blah, blah, blah. That's why they do it, because they want people to think that that many people have had the vaccine. Did you not see the million people in Melbourne the other day? Now, Melbourne's only got 3 million people in it. So that's a lot of people, folks, that haven't been vaccinated. Just that one, and you can go on the Channel 9 thing and you can watch the Channel 9 on YouTube, and you can watch the march and you can watch the reporters, because he could not lie. He couldn't lie. And he actually says, well, I can't tell you that, you know, people are saying there's 100,000 here, and he said, I'm not going to lie, there's a lot more than that. Because they know there's 1 million people there. And you only have to look at the drone footage to know that there was 1 million people there. So this is where this is all going to start falling down. But as I said, and as I've said for ages, they're going to come for us, because they're going to say it's the unvaccinated who are stopping you from doing this, and it's the unvaccinated who are causing the economy to collapse, and it's the unvaccinated blah, 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 blah. And then the Australian government's going to go, this is ridiculous. And how this is going to work out is the Australian government is going to do what's called cut off supply, because they're going to have no choice. And what does cut off supply mean? Well, it means that Pellet Jack, Perret, or whatever his name is in New South Wales, and McGowan, the bloody Nazi in Western Australia, they're all going to be told, you want federal money, you got to stop this bullshit. Because ironically, this is a weird system, folks. This really is a screwed up system. So if I live in Queensland, all my money basically goes to the federal government, who then divides it all up between all the state governments. That's how it works. So eventually, common sense will prevail, but this is not going to take weeks. It's going to take months. And because these clowns, Pellet Jack, and all these other, morons, McGowan, etc., they're going to dig their heels in. Say, no, bang! These people have to go to concentration camps, or what do you call them? COVID camps, etc. They can't be in the society. Well, this is the ironic thing about this. When this is when people are going to start waking up, because then people are going to go, wow, that's going to be some big camp. Because if you've got 1 million people you have to put in a camp, do you understand now why Austria is doing what they're doing? Because they're probably telling people the same thing. 80% of the population is being vaccinated. Well, if there's 80% of the population being vaccinated, why are you locking down the whole country? And why are you worried about the unvaccinated? Because they know they can't build a camp big enough to hold the unvaccinated because it's half the country. And this is all going to come out. And this is what's going to happen here in Queensland and New South Wales and Western Australia, because people are going to go, hang on a minute, who's had the vaccine and who hasn't had the vaccine? Oh, maybe we got our figures wrong, because all of a sudden half of your society is not participating in your society. How's that going to affect your economy? So originally, I think, you know, these camps that are building up in Toowoomba, down in next to the airport, and you know, all this sort of stuff, I'm sure people like me are going to be dragged off to these camps. I'm being serious. And then you're going to have this massive outcry of people. The unvaccinated will stand up then.